Maybe they were just sick and tired of people like you, and I say this respectfully, but people like you constantly calling Trump a Nazi. Maybe they thought it was ridiculous.
Maybe don't call people vermin and say they're poisoning the blood of our country. That's not the terminology. Don't use it.
Just taking a look briefly here at the conversation between Piers Morgan and Joy Reid. I have no idea what Piers Morgan was thinking to book Joy Reid. She's smarter than he is, and she has the facts on her side.
You have repeatedly, over the last few years, called Trump a Nazi. Now, the Nazis were the most despicable, awful human beings we've seen in 1,000 years. They murdered 12 million people, 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. Trump is not a Nazi. So when you do that, you thought it. Let me finish.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
That language echoes white supremacists and was used by Adolf Hitler in his autobiographical manifesto, Mein Kampf, where Hitler criticized mixing races, calling it, quote, blood poisoning. Trump has repeatedly used the phrase.
He's disgusting. And what he's doing is dog whistling to Americans who feel absolutely under stress and strain from the economy and from the conflicts around the world. And he's dog whistling it to blame it on people from areas that don't look like us.
Now, this is just odd. I mean, you can argue the semantics and what degree you should use certain semantics in an argument. I just find it strange that Piers Morgan wants this hill to die on?
Hold on. You've just done what you normally do. I have said he uses Nazi terminology, and that's a fact.
Right.
Saying people are poisoning the blood of our country, that is Nazi talk. That is what I've said about Trump. I will stand by it, because if you're calling people vermin and saying that they're poisoning the blood of our country, you are lifting language out of the Nazi playbook.
Just odd there that Piers wanted to argue that out. And so, of course, they go from that to immigration. I find this interesting, too, since Piers Morgan is from Great Britain. Not sure why he's so concerned about American immigration, but certainly in this conversation he was.
The administration had allowed into the country on a legitimate visa.
But I agree with you.
So his all-encompassing term about immigrants being vermin and poisoning the blood of the country was all-encompassing because it included them. And in his mind, it included anyone who he said came from an S-hole country, meaning if you came from Nigeria, if you came from the Gabon, if you came from any country in Africa.
Now, of course, Piers later in the discussion accuses Joy of, quote, playing the race card. What an amazing shock that was. What's so strange about that, of course, is that this entire conversation really is about ethnicity and ancestry and immigration and race. And who brought that up? Well, who brought that up was Piers Morgan. So I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, so when you want to talk about it, it's not playing the race card. When somebody else wants to talk about it, it's playing the race card.
Because of your skin color or because you're a black woman. I think you were fired because your show just got increasingly unpopular. It happens all the time in TV. That's why you got let go. Why play the race card?
First of all, I love the fact that your play the race card is your version of the race card.
I actually think that Piers was dying to say to Joy, hey, you got fired from MSNBC, ha, 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 ha. I mean, I think that's really what he was trying to do there. And it's going to look pretty stupid probably in less than a year when Joy Reid has, over 1 million people subscribed on her YouTube channel and is going to be watched by more people than Piers Morgan. So it's sort of something that you really shouldn't do when the business of TV is so fickle. People get fired all the time. They say in TV that if you don't get fired, you're not really working in TV. I mean, that's really, if you don't get fired or laid off, you're not really in TV. But I think the reason he brought that up was just, I can say it to her. What a jerk.
Sweeping up cooks, abuelas, people who work on farms.
And here we have a section where they're talking about immigration. And one of the things that you notice in this interview is the minute that Joy starts really telling the hard truth of the situation right now, that's when Piers starts to interrupt. That happens all the time. It's as if he cannot handle the hard truth of what President Trump is actually doing.
But I also think that, and I hope you would agree, that Donald Trump has pretty much stopped completely the number of people coming over the southern border illegally. And under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, over a 4-year period, as many as 10 million people are believed to have come over the southern border illegally. Now, you must surely think that the Trump way of securing the southern border is better for the United States than the Biden way?
First of all, if those are Donald Trump's numbers about how many people came in over the southern border, I don't buy them at all.
What numbers do you buy?
Anything Donald Trump said.
What numbers do you buy?
And let me go on.
Well, how many do you think it was?
Let's just say it was.
Well, Joy, how many do you think it was?
No, let's just say I'm going to stipulate to you. Let's just say it was 10 million people. Are you asking your viewers to believe that 10 million people were in the country raping and robbing rather than working on farms, working on construction sites?
No, I didn't say that.
We have to recall that again, being in the United States without documents is a civil offense. It is not a felony. And so the reality is, if it was 10 million people, we have to ask ourselves, what is the pull? America has always run, from the time that people who looked like me were enslaved, on cheap labor, on free labor to start itself as an empire, and then on a constant pull of cheaper and cheaper labor. That is a pull that is pulling people over. And then, of course, there's the push of the destabilization in Central and
with
South
that,
American
this whole thing
countries.
is a great example of why the Republicans resort so often to just lying. Because when you have facts on the table, their arguments fall apart really quickly. And Piers Morgan is just mimicking that. And that was just strange interview. Why have somebody on that you're going to have, trouble in terms of facts, and facts are not his strong suit. But anyway, wow, Joy won that one. This is Lauren. I'll be back soon.